I come from a poor family, yeah, yeah. We ain't never had a lot, yeah, yeah, yeah. But the Lord been good to us, yeah, yeah. Now we riding on the top, yeah, yeah, yeah. I come from a poor family, yeah, yeah. We ain't never
Welcome to the boat.
We are on the boat. Builder of All Things
Builder
podcast.
of all things. Wednesday morning, Rich.
Hey, good morning, Ray.
Right on, guys. Thanks for joining us in today.
Here we go.
Here
are
we
we
go.
on the boat or are we in it?
Yep. Last week we had Pastor David, special guest.
Man, that was so good. If you missed last week, you should go check out Pastor David. He dropped some gems.
Gemini gems, as
you
said.
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing the foresight of the future, knowing you have the victory already and to give you strength now. Oh my gosh, that was so good.
That was a cool analogy. Yeah, so if you guys haven't listened yet, please go check it out. That's episode 9.
Yeah.
We are on episode 10, Richie.
Let's do this.
That's
We're on
crazy.
number 10, double digits.
Double digits. That's a milestone for us. But anyway, let's start into our first stream, which is going to be faith. So the first question, Richie, is how do I know my calling?
Wow, that's so good. I like this question because I believe all of us have a specific calling in life from God, and he equips us for that through our whole life. Kind of looking at my backdrop and history of just the situations and platforms God put me in is like he was preparing me for something. I remember thinking, I would be in the NFL. Actually, even before that, I had different kind of aspirations. But then, becoming a quarterback on the field, I learned, at an early age, I think sophomore as varsity quarterback. I'm not flexing here.
He's just stating facts, guys.
Just straight facts. But it was an ordained thing that had happened. Our quarterback, senior quarterback, got hurt really bad, broke his leg. Actually, I think I recall he might have been a junior quarterback. But then I was a sophomore, just happened to be throwing the football at a sophomore game, and the coach was like, "Oh, you got an arm. You're starting next Friday for varsity." I was like, "Oh no," freaked out, so scared. He actually, in all honesty, it was a very windy day, and I was throwing with the wind, so I had a little bit of help from God.
Yeah. For a minute there, I thought you were talking about like against you, and you're like flexing a little more.
No. In all honesty, it was the other way. I think I threw it like Brett Favre distance, But yeah, so I'm 6'2", 6'3", sophomore. Got a little bit of enough weight that I could handle a quarterback position on the varsity level. Had no clue about football. I was a basketball player. Like, what am I doing? Like as a quarterback, this coach is crazy. And I remember in the locker room before the first game as a quarterback, we were playing the number 2 team in the state of Illinois. So I was... I think I was about to throw up. I was so nervous. I think I was 16 years old, about to play against 18-year-olds. And, it was just, I remember it was such a freaky thing. I was so scared. And on top of that, it was just pouring down rain.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And
so
they don't stop the games, huh?
No, heck no. That's like the fun, entertaining part for people watching is watching us slip and fall over the place. So we're just playing an amazing team. It was peaking. And I just remember just being scared and going out there. And I remember praying like, Lord, what are you doing? You're out here to destroy me. But I remember, I got out there and I just, went through the plays, played the game. I remember dropping back for a pass. I had no clue where the guy was running. He just told me, "Look, man, just throw it in the middle." As hard as you can, because it's called a post. He's just going to run, cut back to the post. And I remember just dropping back, closing my eyes, and just throwing it as far as I can. And then I got hit, knocked down. I get up, and I was like, they came and picked me up like, "Dude, you just threw an 80-yard touchdown." I'm like, "What?"
That's good.
I was like, "Did I? I didn't even get to see it." I had to wait till the news that night to see it. But make a long story short, I only threw 8 times, but I was 7 for 8.
Oh, wow.
I had over 200 something yards, 2 touchdowns. We lost to the number 2 team in the state only by a couple points.
Mm.
And then I was all over the paper. Like,
Yeah.
what was this new guy with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best efficiency on the league right now?
7 for 8, 200 plus yards.
Yeah.
Those are good stats.
It was good
Yeah.
stats. So what happened is God did all that. I did nothing. I did nothing. I just showed up. God was preparing a calling in my life, that he wanted me to be in a leadership role, young, sophomore. All of a sudden after that game, people are like, wait a minute,
talking.
yeah. They're like, okay, this guy, what does he have to say? And of course I'm Mr. I don't have nothing to say. I just, but that humility showed, like being in a position as a sophomore, I realized there was a humility that just was automatically there. So I'm glad God put me there, at a young age. I didn't know football. I didn't know anything, but I got to see that presentation of that humility and the success rate in that, of when you do get to a place in your calling that, God was preparing me for, that I continue to try to hold that, sense of humility, not pride, not know everything, not do everything, and whatnot. So in my life, I've noticed personally, God has, prepared football for leadership.
Yeah.
Use football as a means of how to be as a leader. And I realized in my life, there are different opportunities where I was raised or put in a position where I'd be leading, and then ultimately finding my calling as a business owner, and whatnot. So going back, how do I know my calling, is the question. Is I think there's a few things now that I look at my calling as a business owner in construction. There are some C's, the letter C's, I would love to share about how do I know my calling. This is how I've identified my calling and made sure it was in the right place. Looking back on my history, number one, does your calling conform or contradict with God's word? So what I'm doing now, I can be a business owner, but what kind of business owner am I being? Number one, in looking at your calling in your life, whatever it is, say you're amazing in media, and you end up being, a producer. Is what you're doing conforming or contradicting to God's word? Or are you going to be a stripper? Like that might not be your calling. So just looking at different business realms or different skill sets, what you can do, make sure it's conformed to God's word. If you're trying to look for your calling in God's life, obviously, you want to make sure it conforms to God's word, not contradicts it. Number 2, C, is capacity. Are you good at it? Are you skilled at it? Did God prepare you for it? Obviously, if God would throw me in that game and I did horrible, I was not a quarterback, because obviously you can't just throw any person in that position. I think it's the same thing with people. I can't jump in and try to be a makeup artist. I can't jump in and try to be a chef. I suck at cooking. I tried to cook last night and I just ruined some curry, man. It looked like slurry.
I want to hear this from Tiffany.
She came in and she was like, "You didn't add enough water. Put another brick of curry in. What are you doing? The potatoes are too mushy." I'm like, "Oh, man."
Don't worry, man. I'll probably be in the same boat.
I tried.
It's an art form, man. Right?
It is. It's kind of just, make sure you have the capacity in your calling. Like, you don't want to move forward and waste your whole life in something you ain't good at. Right. So that's why I stopped rapping. No, just joking.
Oh, bro.
No, just joking. But, just knowing, looking at your skill set, what has God prepared you, built you for? And in football, I used to think, maybe I will go to the NFL, like I was saying, but I realized my capacity or my calling didn't. Yes, I played good in football in high school, but God has actually preparing me to be a construction worker, which is crazy. Some people think construction worker is like the different road versus NFL. It's like, I didn't make it, so now I'm a construction worker. It's like, but it wasn't. It was like God used football to build me in this world. And I didn't realize it like until maybe 2 or 3 years in my apprenticeship. I'm like, man, I'm really good at this because I move like a football player. I don't mind sweating. I don't mind bumping into things. I don't mind getting a cut on my hand.
Yeah.
I love learning. I love being pushed. I love competitiveness. I realized everything about football was in this world. And I'm like, oh, I fit.
It translates
It
well.
translates
Yeah.
very well. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working really hard. I love showing up early. I love leaving late. I love, just that push that kind of like you have in football. So I've learned that was a good fit for me in my capacity. The other C, so we have, make sure it conforms to God's word, make sure you have the capacity. The next C is confirmation. Make sure you have confirmation in what you're doing before you move into your calling. People want to call it, what am I called to do? What's my skill set? It's in God's word, but how do I confirm this? And specifically with me and Tiffany, we before we jumped into the calling of being business owners, we prayed about it, and we needed a crystal clear confirmation from God before we move forward. And I remember telling Tiffany that, hey, I think we should start a business with carpentry because, we're doing pretty good. But just because you're doing good in that little season, that could have been just a provisional point, or is this like a calling, right?
Ooh, that's good.
Right?
You need to differentiate those things.
You do. Yeah. So confirmation is very important. I remember praying or telling her I'm going to pray about it. And she was like, it can't be like, you heard from God, like it was your voice. Like, we need something crystal clear where I'm on board too. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Yeah. So we prayed for a crystal clear confirmation. And I remember during that season, I got called back to my union job versus starting a new business. And Tiffany said, you need to take that because starting a new business doesn't look like much money. And we have 4 kids and some rent to pay. So you better get back on that journeyman guaranteed job with benefits. So I prayed, and they told me we're going to start in February. And I told her, give me till February, we'll pray. And I remember February 7th, 2012. We already launched the business out of faith in January 2012. But in February, I got the phone call. And I remember it was ringing, and Tiffany was like, did you get your crystal clear confirmation? I'm like, no, I didn't. She goes, well, you know what you need to do. And I said, I do. So I answered the phone. The foreman who was hiring me said, I just quit the company. Please don't. He's like, don't go back to this company and go to work. They said they're going to hire you for a couple months and they're going to let you go. They're just going to use you as a body, but they're going to be hiring subs. This is not a place for, a carpenter. And I looked at my wife. I was like,
Yo,
I think we just got our crystal clear confirmation. She's like, what did he say? I told him. She was like, I guess we're starting a business. So
that's insane.
I think that's where All Things New birth was based on prayer and that confirmation. But confirmation is very important. It sets the foundation. So whenever we're in the boat and it's kind of bouncing back and forth, we're feeling uneasy. Like, did we make the right decision? We always go back to that day and say, nope. God, you confirm this, so we're going to trust that we're going to prevail. Yeah,
that is amazing. Yeah,
confirmation is important. The next C is catered. Meaning, what is catered? Catered is like, if you want or need, somebody's bringing that to you. So when you're in your calling, God's going to cater you. He's going to take care of you. It says, like a heart of a king is in the hand of the Lord, and like a river, he's going to take you where you go. So like, it's the whole point of the boat, right?
The boat, guys.
The hand is the cater, right? So when you're in the boat, God's got you the whole way. You don't have to worry about provisions. He's got you. So if you're in your calling and nothing's moving, you might want to reconsider if you're in the hand or the right boat.
Yeah.
You might be in a boat where the hand isn't underneath it. So just making sure, it's fruitful in the sense of it's always not financial, but the stream moves. I always tell people, if I'm just following the stream, if the stream's not moving, you might not be in the hand or in the right boat. You might be in a sea where it's just settled. Credit. Who's getting the credit? In your calling, it should be glorifying God. So if you're in a calling that you think you're calling and it's bringing you all this glory or all this, place of, on a platform, you got to be real careful. That might not be your calling. Calling ultimately will glorify God that you're doing. So the last C, to close this out, is closer. Your calling will bring you closer to God. That's ultimately the whole point why he created us and called us to something, is to bring us closer to him, to draw us near. So those are my C's for the calling is, does it conform to God's word? Do you have the capacity? Make sure you have confirmation. Is God catering it? Who's getting the credit? And is it bringing it closer to God? So bringing it home with how do you know my calling? I think just follow those C's or tune into those C's and see what happens.
Oh, man. You got the template right there, guy.
Yeah, it's the 6 C's, man.
6 C's. Yeah, that was awesome, Rich. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of meaty stuff. Cooking steak out here.
Cooking steak, dropping C's on them.
Awesome. Ooh, nice. That's nice and good stream.
Yeah,
That's
speaking of C's, Coffee and Carpentry dropping about next month. So
pretty soon,
tune
yes.
in. All right.
All right, second stream, Richie. Is our business question is going to be, is everyone called to be an entrepreneur or business owner?
That's good. I like to think that, you know, I would, but let's define entrepreneur. What is that? Entrepreneur is, let's see, what is the definition of entrepreneur? Is someone who creates a business with high risk and the attempt for higher profit, to work for higher profit. So that's like, I guess, a worldly way to look at it is an entrepreneur is somebody, well, I'm skipping on that word. I remember when I was real young, I was so scared of that word and trying to say it because it felt like such a big word.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, entrepreneur. I was like, how do you say that word? I remember when I was young trying to conquer that word, and then
and you conquered it.
Yeah, no, I just skipped on it again. Entrepreneur. But yeah, it's somebody who's you know, has the creativity to build a business, has the oomph to take that risk that other people won't, and with the hope that there's that high reward, right? That there's a benefit from it. And that's what entrepreneurs are. So when we think of an entrepreneur, we think of business owners, or we think of people that are start businesses, or, you know, things like that. So just trying to define entrepreneur, I believe, outside of just business, I think we're all built as entrepreneurs. And why do I say that? Is just looking at God and who he is. Because what is entrepreneurship? It's creating something, right? Starting something. And God was a creator. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? So, I mean, that's who he is. He's the creator, right? So he's the entrepreneur. And then who are we? We are made in his image and his likeness.
Which means
we are creators as well. So in the sense of entrepreneur, if we were to switch that word out with a create, you know, like our creators, I think we're all built to be some sense of creators, or, you know, in some sort of fashion. And then what is risk? Risk is like faith. So we're all built with faith, you know, having to be like Peter and step out on the boat in faith. You know, faith is all through the Bible. Faith is just, risk takers are taking faith every day. I think as entrepreneurs that are not even Christians at all are risk takers. They are probably got more faith than a lot of people in the world, right? They're faith takers is what they are. They're just constantly have faith. They're moving forward with something, believing in something that's unseen, right? And that's, so God has a really deep connection with entrepreneurs because he can look and say, man, these guys got strong faith. Like they do. And then if I can, you know, get them to tune into my faith, those will be my peeps. It's kind of like he probably recruits entrepreneurs, you know, but in a sense, we all are built to have faith, you know. Profit. What is profit? Profit doesn't have to just mean money. It could mean reward. It could mean blessings. It could mean favor. And that's God's essence on our life is he wants to bless us. He wants to reward us. You know, he talks about that a lot in the Bible. And the last thing is, you know, the work involved is like God's stewardship and our growth. So I think to answer the question, we're all entrepreneurs one way or another. But I don't think we're all business owners in the marketplace. So to separate the two, I think as an employee, you can still have the entrepreneurial heart. And I think it's the responsibility of a business owner to always set the tone for that in your workplace. So always have an opportunity for creativity for your employee, you know, have a place where they can have risk or just establish some sort of faith where they can step out, establish some sort of reward or blessing for them for that, you know, and always during the work, you know, make sure there's growth. So I think entrepreneurs experience that as building businesses, but I think as business owners, we should also create those opportunities to just have the entrepreneurial spirit set in the atmosphere of our workplace.
Yeah, because if it's going to be all on you, you want your workers and you want your team to have that same spirit like you mentioned.
Yeah, I think it's just going to create a healthy atmosphere of growth in a company. To always establish those things. So, little tactics we use is make sure, when we bought when we got this establishment here in Kapolei, we made sure we picked a place that had glass windows all around so it could produce creativity by having sunlight. Setting up positions and places and opportunities for our workers to where there's risk, so just constantly just putting these things in place in your business, I think is a great responsibility to put on ourselves as business owners, so everyone can have that sense of entrepreneurship. But ultimately, I don't think everyone's business owners. There's a heavy risk, there's a lot of weight. There's some people are built for it. Some people are not. But I think there's a respect from those to respect the business owner and the business owner to respect the employees. There has to be that balance that we all work together ultimately for a higher cause.
We talk about like those just the type of build that someone has for entrepreneurship and business owners versus not having that build for that. I think of some guys who, to the point of madness, where it's like that their risk, their faith, I guess, is so strong, and I'm just like, I don't know, man, it's too crazy for me to take a risk on this particular thing. And like you said, you gotta have that. I don't want to call it a gene, but it's almost like, I don't know. There's people. It separates people from business owners from. There's just another type of breed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the first question, we all have a calling, right?
Yeah.
In the same respect, I think it takes a lot of faith to trust a business owner.
True. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
True. Yeah.
you're putting your livelihood in the hands of, like, it's like going on an airplane, right? How much faith do we have in the pilot?
Yeah.
Like, I think about it all the time. Like, I don't know this dude. Like, he could have been up last night drinking wine. He didn't drink water this morning. He could be dehydrated. He could pass out like I did the other day.
Going off on a tangent, I did hear that they have to regularly go through what do you call I'm not sure if it's therapists or people that check them, just make sure they're good.
I hope so.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's just in the same respect, even if it's windy or there's turbulence or, whatever the case is, if the plane feels it, the employees feel it. I think it's a responsibility, of the pilot to say, hey, we're good.
Yeah,
their voice
right.
always comes over real low and like very calm. I think they do that on purpose.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, just to calm everyone. Because if they were like, hey guys, it's a little bit of turbulence out here. Y'all gonna be good, trust me. No, they're like, hello everybody, this is Pilot John. Just want to let you guys know we're gonna be good going through this turbulence. Just a little bit of wind we're experiencing here.
As the wing is on fire. Yeah. Nothing to joke about, but I understand what you're saying.
In the same concept, business owners, they have a lot of faith and risk, but I think to the employees, I mean, I just admire like how much faith they put in me and Tiffany in our business. Just like it really motivates us to never give up working at all. That's why we're always 24/7, just constantly thinking about how to keep the boat going, how to pray, constantly, keep God's hand under the boat. Because people are trusting in us, and that's a lot of faith. So it goes both ways, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Good stream. We're going to head down to our third one, which is going to be our construction question. Richie, so how do you feel about safety in the workplace?
Safety is important. I remember, I don't know what the statistics are now, but I remember construction was one of the highest death rates in any job field, which was kind of crazy if you think about it. That's like, I think military was up there, and then construction was like, oh wow, that's a lot of danger there. So I remember my first year in construction, I've seen some major injuries. I seen a guy on the roof take a cigarette break and had a pneumatic nail gun, and rested his gun upward down on his knee, and it went into an automatic like fire and just started shooting nails in his knee. He panicked and jumped off a 2-story roof. I don't know how he landed, but I ran over to look over the edge, and he just was limping away, running. I was like, did he land that, or did he roll? But I think he panicked and he jumped off. And then, his knee, he was out for probably about 6 months. Dang. I mean, imagine his knee looked like, had all these pins in it. Yeah. It was just crazy. Just not being careful. I've seen, at my carpentry apprenticeship school, I seen a guy cut his thumb off. He was like 2 guys in front of us. We're all going through the saw, cutting. In training. Yeah. Cutting. But teacher did walk away for whatever reason. We're cutting through, and he was looking back, talking to everyone. Like, man, I do this on the job site all the time. Like really, it was like being kind of prideful, and then just kind of pushed it through, and then we just seen his thumb fly up and land on the table saw. Like, it literally landed. It was the nastiest thing. And I remember just sitting back like, oh my gosh. He grabbed his hand and he was just like, oh my gosh. Oh, what happened? We're like, dude, your thumb. Like, he cut it off, man. So I remember the next day that the teacher had brought in these, we have now in our shop is the flesh it recognizes the flesh and it stops. It's called saw stop. It was the first time I experienced those saws. They brought it in the next day. Yeah, that's crazy. So I've seen some injuries, but I've seen people's lives get saved too, where people were tied off properly and fell and been caught. And I've seen people fall 8 feet off a ladder and be out for 6 months, busted up mouth and broken jaw. So across the board, safety is huge. And I think it's something that, we always got to consider for cost. That way you're not trying to cheat it, because if you're bidding to do a project and you don't consider the cost for safety, the natural thing is, we don't, it's a lot of money to invest in safety. So what degree do you go in? So, it's very important to not only add those costs, but educate the homeowners that it's kind of a unforeseen cost. Yeah, we're installing this, but these are some safety items that we do have, but we have to have in place in order to complete your project. Scaffolding, railings, tie offs. Sometimes just tying off takes 2 or 3 hours, or putting up the railing. You could spend a whole day to change 2 windows by erecting a scaffold correctly, putting up the railing, tying off. You could spend almost 4 or 6 hours, two or 3 guys. That's a lot of money for 2 windows, just based on the location of the window. So educating the homeowner on that cost, making sure you apply whatever safety methods, very important, because ultimately you're not valuable if you get hurt. Right. Yeah. So it's more valuable for you to take that extra step of safety.
For sure.
Just getting a splinter. You can be out. I have a guy who's out now. He's been out for a couple months because a splinter went and, hit a nerve. So just wearing the right gloves or how you handle the wood.
Crazy.
Now we don't have that extra body. So, it's value, even though it's an extra step, and it takes a little bit of time, it's really not production in the long run, and then ultimately, we only have one body, right? So take care of it, know? So safety is number one at ATN. Safety should be number one everywhere you go. We've had visits from OSHA. We've had OSHA training. It's very important to look online. There's a lot of resources for safety, but safety is a big thing, man. We definitely need to make sure that's priority number one, then do the work, because once you're all safetied up, you can get in there and get it done. So just making sure that's priority number one. I do think safety is a big thing.
Does that come with what's that term? Overhead price? What was a term?
Overhead? Yeah. Overhead? No, overhead.
Does that come with overhead?
No, because there's 2 different type of overheads. There is direct and indirect. So indirect is mostly administration, insurances, property, administration, worker, everything that operates the business is a indirect overhead to a project based off a percentage of value through a whole year of revenue. Direct overhead, that would be. So if your project, has something in particular that's direct that you have to have safety for, those costs would be part of a direct overhead.
So one of the jobs that we had required to build a deck to build a deck. Would that be part of the safety?
That's part of safety, yeah. We could not reach the area we're going to work on the deck, so we had to build a deck to build a deck.
Yeah. So that would be included in the overhead cost. Is that correct?
It would be part of the direct overhead. Yeah,
Gotcha,
just the cost that it's going to take to build the project. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, that's true. We had to build a deck to build a deck.
Yeah.
Obviously, the deck we built was more safety and not any high-end material.
Right.
But yeah, so we built the whole deck, and then we stood on that to build the other deck.
I'm sure you have more stories of safety,
man.
but we're out of time here. But guys, thank you for joining with us today. What's next for us, Richie, here at ATN? Got anything coming up?
We do. Stay tuned on Hawaii News Now. We got 3 commercials that are going to be, going live here, I think, at the end of this month and beginning of July. So we'll announce the dates. So it'll be pretty cool. Be in tune with what we got with our new home construction builds that we're doing. A little bit more about coffee and carpentry.
Yeah.
And also our design center in town. So our design lounge. Pretty cool. VR lounge. It's going to be opening in July. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Ooh. We recently went out to Kamakana Ali too for the home improvement fair. How was that for you guys?
Yeah, that was great. We just went out there for community, just impression, just let them know we're here. We gave out candy. We had brought the VR lounge for them to experience.
It was a nice setup.
It was. We had the photo booth. So it was just spend some time with the community. Nothing special. Meet vendors, meet some subcontractors, meet other people in our field. And so it's always a fun event. Just getting outside. It was a little hot, but.
Yeah. One of the people that came by our booth was like, hey, I remember seeing you guys in one of the magazines. And I was like, I overheard and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. Pretty cool, man. Yeah, we've been blessed, so God is good.
Right on. Thanks for joining us on the stream, guys. Builder of All Things podcast.
Builder of All Things. Yeah. Right on, Ray.
Right on. Happy Wednesday, guys. See you guys.
I come from a poor family.